Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the build. We are now on part 13 of our 1350 refit enterprise build, so let's get right to work. Alright guys, we are moving along here. We got our neck, or saucer pylon. Get down there. Get down there. Fine. We got this all done. We got our light strips in here. We got our beauty lights back here. They're connected in. They're pointing where we need them. I wonder if I could show that off. Let's try to show that off. Let's screw everything up. Hold on here. Yeah, there we go. Just shining through the electrical tape, or not electrical, but masking tape. You can see, kind of see where those will go. That one will go up straight, like at an. Well, this one will go straight up. This one will go at a. Turn some lights off. See it better. You can kind of see it better now. So yeah, that one will kind of go straight up. That one will go at an angle and light up the neck. Again, there's just too much light in this room to show, but yeah, you can see them lighting up the neck there. And we got the rest of our LED strips installed. We got one up here, one here, and it's the same for the other side. One here, one here, one here. I also plan to install in the saucer. The section above here is hollow, and there's quite a bit of it. I'm going to need some of that section to run my wires through, but I plan to put those either in front of or behind a light strip, another 3 or 6 strip I'm going to put right up in here so we get some downward cast going, as well as this side. Yes, I should have painted this white on the inside or in a metallic. I may just go back with my Maltelv pen and just kind of fill in the black spots here, just to kind of promote some more light dispersion within the neck. But yeah, they're together. I don't have my don't do that. I don't have my photon array in yet. That's gonna go in one side. When I put these together, that's gonna go in one side first, and I'll glue it in there. And when I go put these together, everything should line up. I do have masking tape on here, as you can see. I'm going to paint these details first because I really don't want to mask off the whole ship, or most of the ship, just to paint in these grills here. There's this grill down here as well. There is a blue line that goes right up this part of the neck. In fact, it might go all the way up the neck. So we're going to be painting this and this the same color. This is going to be gray. There is a little line, it's hard to see, there's a little line that goes around the photon emitter, and from what I can see, that's kind of almost a silver color. You can see the line right here. So we're going to just paint that with our silver Sharpie, and that should be cool. So yeah, I got all the windows masked off and everything I need. I'm just going to hit these with some paint. And that should be it. And then I can get these put together. Of course, I'll come back in and I'll remask these after painting them, and I'm actually going to add a clear coat to them, and then I'll remask these. It doesn't so much matter the top, because this is going to go in the saucer, this top section. It's this bottom section here that matters. So that's that. I've got everything masked off for my rear section here that I need masked off. Some silly putty in the, I think these are tractor beam emitters. I think that's what they are. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Or that's the blue lights. I'm not sure. Again, not sure. But that's all masked off. That's going to remain that way until the ship is done being painted, actually. But that's one thing I'm going to do probably next here is get that installed back here. It does not fit very well at all. So let's see if we can bring this thing in here. I can show you. So let's see here. We got a tab here. We got a tab on the edge here. We got a tab up here, and corresponding slots on the piece itself. But it doesn't really want to go in most of those tabs. So we got to line this up here on the bottom. That shoves in, and it kind of shoves into the side ones a little bit, but it's really bad on top. You really got to push it in to get it to go up there. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to take some of my rubber bands, wrap them around the nacelle pylons, and then bring it back here so it can hold this part up here, and then I'll put another one right here so it'll hold this and clamp this into place. So that's, oops, that's everywhere. That's on the docket for today. So I'm gonna get this thing on, get some paint on my neck, and we'll be back, see what we can see, and hopefully this thing will stay where I want it to stay. So I'll be back in a second. Alright, so we got a bunch of work done. Wasn't work you'd want to see on the camera, but we'll talk about that in a second. First, let's get to our neck. Neck is together. I got it taped and I got it rubber banded so it doesn't fall apart. We did get some detail painting done. We got this blue up here, and I got that masked off. That mask will remain on there till we're done painting because it doesn't need to come off. I did paint the blue stripe up here. Didn't need to, or rather, I had to do the seam, so that was pointless. But it's there. Got my photon emitter installed. Probably shouldn't have done that because I've got seam work to do, and it's very close to this already finished painted piece. So we're going to have to do some creative masking on this and some creative seam work because we got to get it down in there. We got to get it on the top. And this thing's not going anywhere, by the way. It's super, super, super glued. So it's not coming out, unfortunately. So together, got the seam to do, got a big old seam on the back, got a big old seam on the front. We're going to actually do the seam work on this before we install it onto this because this thing is cumbersome as it is. I don't want to add to that and try to do all this seam work while it's attached. But anyways, we're going to be consolidating our wires. We got 8 wires coming out of here. I don't want 8, I want 2. So we're going to snip these pretty close, and then we're going to consolidate them into 2 wires, which will run down here. Also, we still have plenty of room for our neck wires, or our saucer wires. That's a lot of room that we have to put those wires down there. That'll be fine. Let's at least look at those photons. I think they're pretty cool. Let's see if we can find the wires. See if the wires will behave for once. You're not behaving. There we go. That's what those look like about. The centers are white, which I wouldn't mind if they were that nice kind of neon pink. They're not in real life. They're more red. They're actually more of that color right there you're seeing. The glow inside there, that's about the color of the centers. But yeah, they look pretty cool. I do like how they're recessed to get this nice dimension going on around them. So they look pretty cool. And yes, they're going to be on all the time. I just think they look really cool with the photons on. They get a nice little red color in here to kind of, you got red and then you got blue. There's not a lot of color in this area outside of the deflector, so it's nice to get some nice red glowy bits going on. So that I think is it for the neck. Now when we put this on, we will be putting epoxy in the recesses, these tab recesses, and we'll be running a bead of epoxy. Actually, let's look at this side along the inside of this edge here. So this won't go anywhere. And when we get this thing epoxy down, we have to make sure it is exactly straight up and down, because if this isn't straight up and down, if there's any canter or roll to it, that roll is going to be represented in the saucer, and you might not see it in the neck, but you will see it on the saucer. The saucer has to be flat. There are nice meaty pins up here for the saucer too, and down here, but we do want to reinforce this with epoxy. I did go back in and reinforce our ring with epoxy. It's hard to see no matter what you do, but there's a bunch of epoxy down here. Let's see if I can tap on that. See, that's plastic. Right there, that's plastic. That's epoxy. Nice and dense sound. So I got epoxy, a lot of epoxy in here, and all the way around the inside of this ring here is epoxied. So that ring, yeah, that's not going anywhere. I could shake that all day long. I did get a hole drilled in top. I put a little channel in here just to make sure there's room for our wires coming down from the neck, because some of them come down below the edge here in the back, so I want to get a little bit of a recess. I would have channeled this out completely, but there's an LED strip behind here, so I don't want to mangle that, because that's providing light for up in here. Cut this out. I could actually go a little bit forward, actually a lot bit forward. The neck comes to here, and then it goes up at an angle. Let's see, as you can see here, it kicks up at an angle and goes forward. This section right in here, from where it kicks up to here, is all overhanging on our ring up front. So I could kick this hole back a little bit more. I don't want to kick it too far, because this right here is helping to hold this ring in place. I might want to, maybe I'll kick it an eighth or a quarter. I think I can get away with a quarter of an inch, coming up about that far without messing with this stability. We'll have to look. Not that I don't think this isn't going to be enough room for all my wires, but it is crowded behind there. You can see in there, we're starting to get crowded. Not too drastically, but it's getting there. And we just want enough room for all of our wires to come down. And I can fit my finger down in and wave it and wave at you. Pardon me. And get it stuck. But I still want to make sure we got enough room for the 5 sets of wires coming down from the neck. Or rather, we're actually going to have 6 because of these. There'll be 5 coming down from the saucer, I think, and then our 2 wires once we condense the spaghetti to, not so much spaghetti, to rigatoni. We're going to go with rigatoni. The main thing I've been doing this week is this, getting the fantail in place here. It is in place. It went on a lot better than I expected. I'm saying that a lot. I'm counting my blessings, because the strongback and the pylons went on pretty good, and this went on there pretty good. It went into all the tabs, including this one, but we do have a major nasty gap right there we're going to have to address. The door for this actually comes right up to that edge, so you don't actually see that gap when the door is on, but I built myself a nice shuttle bay, and I want to see that shuttle bay, so we're going to have to address that. On the top here, it didn't go so bad. I have had to sand down a little bit. Mainly the sanding is because I let adhesive goop out over the edge. There is a little bit of a, a trench in here, but nothing too bad. It didn't step too bad, except for a little bit on this side right here. The major problem is the step down here. That is a big step. And this tab, there's a tab that goes in there back there. That tab is in place, as are all the tabs around here. So I'm not sure what is causing this step. If it's, maybe I don't have the shuttle bay down exactly where it should be, or what. Because you can see the step right there where that triangle meets. You can see that this section, the fantail, is kicked slightly up from this right here. Just slightly up. So, we have to, I'm not sure what we're going to do. If we're going to sand this off, or if we're going to try to basically create a entire putty lip around here. I haven't decided which is more of a pain in the butt, to sand off about 1 millimeter of plastic, and then have to sand back here to make sure this curve is correct again, or just to putty around here and then sculpt us a nice curved fantail. I've also been basically sanding. That's what I've been doing this week besides that. Sanding these seams, sanding around here. I did have a step on the collar here. For some reason, it went fine around all here, but for some reason on the bottom right here, you can see my 100 grit scratches all over the place here and in here and over here. I did have to, there was a tiny little bit of a step up right here. There's still a little bit more of it right here. You can hear it. So I had to sand that down. And then I sanded these seams here. This seam all around here. Of course, you can see a bunch of work back here on the fantail. And then on our pylon mounts right here, I've had to sand these. I still have to do a little bit more sanding on this. Let's see if I can show this off. There's a bit of a, you can see the rounded edge here, and then the rounded edge here is off. That's about how much of a step I had, that little piece of triangle in there. That was the step on this side. This side was kicking this way, like this is. So I've pretty much got that down where I want it to on the front, and the same thing with the back. The back had the same issue, and on both sides. So it may look like there's a step here. What you're seeing isn't step. What you're seeing is the gap there. That's how big the gap is. And then there's this. Actually, you can kind of see it best from this angle. And you can see that this plane is up and then it kicks down right here. I've been sanding that, obviously. I have to stop sanding that because I'm starting to create a flat part right in here. And I don't want that. We're dealing with multiple curves. We're dealing with the curve on this angle, and we're dealing with the curve on this angle, and we're dealing with this curve too. So you've almost got like multiple, like almost 2 or 3 different curves coming into contact right here. So what I'm gonna have to do is fill this with putty and then kind of sculpt a slope backwards and a slope at this angle. So almost an X and a Y kind of on coordinates if you're looking at it like that. We've got this angle we got to match, the roundness, and then the slope of this, because this is sloping back and down as it heads towards the shuttle bay. So we're going to have to do some sculpting there. I'm also going to add a little bit more adhesive in these guys because the tops here are empty, and I don't want my putty to just be opened into just nothingness, which is what it would do. I want at least something behind it to back it up. So we got a little bit of a crack there, crack on this side. I had same thing going on back on these two, and today I just put a little bit of adhesive in there to fill them. So I'm gonna have to go back and sand on those. I think that's it, you guys. I think that's everything I've been working on for the remainder of this week. So what I plan to do is wait for this to dry. Then when it's dry, we're going to start working on the seams. We're going to consolidate our wires. We can't quite do that up front yet. Then I'm going to sand this with some 100 grit, and then probably go back over it with some 800 grit, and we'll be ready to start masking off like our ring up here and our shuttle bay, and get some primer on this, just to see exactly how drastic some of our gaps are, seams are. Well, I think that's going to be next week. We're going to primer, we're going to get the neck, and hopefully, if all goes well, get the neck installed. That'd be a nice big step too. And then we could start our base coat. That'd be a good goal to get this thing painted. I don't know how drastic the seams are. We might be in seam hell next week. So we'll find that out. But I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank all my old subs and my new subs. You guys are equally rad. And until next week, you guys take care.